Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This video feels so official because this feels like a peek into my taste as a reader, because today's going to be a bookshelf tour. I am also going to be touring you through these stacks that are around my bookshelf as well. You're going to see all of the books that I own. I try to read books from the library before buying them, but sometimes life just doesn't work like that. But that means that a lot of these books on my shelf, if they have been read, I most likely love them, because even if I buy a book and I read it and I don't like it, I'm putting it in a little library. I don't want to see it again. So, if I've read a book and it's on my shelf, 9 times out of 10, I loved it. And the other books are just books that I have not read yet. I guess this is something we should talk about, why I collect books. I collect books for future generations. Yes, this shelf is very selfish. It is like, this is my collection. But these are books that I want my grandkids and grandnieces and nephews to be able to read. We're going to get into it now. I don't think that I'm going to be counting all of the books that I own for you. Let's see. $100. I'm not gonna lie, I got to the last roll and I lost count, so. But I was at 200. I tried my best. Alright, let's go. This is my bookshelf. She is like everything to me. I don't think that I will try to like get a better system with my bookshelf, because I genuinely love bookshelves that are a mess, and I love how my shelf looks because nothing is organized and it just seems like I have heaps and heaps of books, and I love that vibe. On the first shelf I have my fantasy, and I think I'm also going to make this like my sci-fi shelf as well. Honestly, I try to put as much of my books as possible onto my shelf, and when I get another shelf I will arrange it to be on that shelf as well. So, sci-fi fantasy shelf. Up here I have Circe by Madeline Miller, which I have read, and I really like this book. Kai K, have not read. A Tempest of Tea, one of my favorite fantasy books, I'm not gonna lie. That book is like reminiscent of Six of Crows. Children of Blood and Bone, which is now a trilogy. The third book came out last year, but I'm not gonna buy and read the third book. It's been so long since I read these first two books, and I am not gonna reread them, and in order to get the vibe of the third book I need to reread them, so that sucks. But I mean, like, I read these books 5 years ago. Oh, hold up, girl, I forgot I had this book. I gotta flex this book a little bit. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is the special edition of Six of Crows. My grandmother bought this book for me at Dirt Cheap, maybe for $5. For $5. An icon living. For her to remember that I love this book in the first place, what an icon living. But anyway, special edition Six of Crows. It has like this metallic vibe going on and then sprayed edges. It is beautiful, and Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, favorite of all time fantasy books. Kaz and Inej will live forever. They were like the OG slow burn romance. Oh, and also my copy of Tempest of Tea has fan art in it, which I'm also going to show you. Any relics that I have within my books, or like anything that I feel like I could flex a little bit, I'm flexing. Got this from the used bookstore. Stunning. This book also has an amazing slow burn romance, and it has vampires. So if that's your vibe, get into it, girl. So Let Them Burn, I have not read. Legendborn, I read and I liked enough to keep it on my shelf, but I didn't love. All the Stars and Teeth, I read and I really like. This is like a pirate book if you are a pirate girly like me. The Priory of the Orange Tree and A Day of Fallen Night, both of which I've read. They are good, but I don't know if they're worth it because of how incredibly long and unnecessarily long they are. Edge Dancer by Brandon Sanderson. I found this at a little library and I have not read it yet. The Rose and the Dagger, The Wrath and the Dawn. These two books got me into fantasy. These were like the first two fantasy books that I've ever read. Casted Firelight and Bound by Firelight, another amazing duology. If you're gonna read these books, listen to the audiobooks. Secret Identity, two vigilantes saving their town, and airbender type magic. Once Upon a Broken Heart and Ballad Never After. I did find the third book in the bin at the library, in the giveaway bin also, and I have it on my desk. Girls, if it's good, convince me to bring it home. Because it's just been sitting on my desk because I heard that it's not good. And I don't want it taking up space if it's not good. Dune, The Hobbit, and Jurassic Park. Love these down. Especially Jurassic Park and Dune. Those are like two favorites of the year for me. This is the second shelf. My brother gave me this mug for my birthday, I want to say. It's Moomin Mama drinking tea. And on the back, she's like gardening. Love this mug so much. And because Moomin is like one of my favorite characters, I'm like, this has to be my bookshelf mug. And in this mug, I have some crochet hooks, pencils, pens, highlighters, and just a ton of bookmarks and tabs. First thing on this shelf, this is like my general fiction shelf, I guess. Oh, and also, this was given to me by my coworker. She made this for me, and love her down for that, because this is one of the very first things that I was given from work, and this coworker specifically was one of the very first coworkers that made me feel so welcome at my job. So I love her down. This little goat is sitting on 8 Tales of Terror. These were recently purchased from the library book sale. 8 Tales of Terror by Edgar Allan Poe, Jaws, Lost Lake by Sarah Addison Allen. I want to read all of her books. None of those I've read yet. Then in the back, I have the Veronica Speedwell series, my pride and joy babies. Like, this is a relic, a shrine on my shelf. Like, this series is everything to me. Y'all already know this. The only book that I have in hardcover from this series is A Grave Robbery, the most recent ones. And to be honest, the rest of the books that she publishes in this series will probably be in hardcover, because I do not have the patience to wait for them to be released in paperback because of how much I love this series. I've read every single one of these books, as you can see by the broken spines. Then we have Bunny, which I have read, have not read When We Were Birds, have not read The Water Dancer. Honestly, the general fiction shelf is the shelf that I have not read the most from. Monstrilio have not read. Happy Hour by Marlo Granados I have read and I really, really enjoy. This is like a YA book, The Silence That Binds Us. Essential Oils by the brand Beluga Bliss. Love those oils down. There's an awareness blend, a deep sleep blend, and a pain relief blend. Anytime I have a headache or I just want better sleep, I put some of that on my pillow. As Good as Dead, I've read the whole A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, but this book is my favorite from the series. The rest I will probably get at some point, but this is the only one that I was like, need that. Bad Cree I've read and love. As Long as the Lemon Tree Grows I have not read yet. Before the Coffee Gets Cold I have not read yet, but I've read the 4th book in this series. Not sure why I read it out of order. Small Things Like These I have read. Milk Blood Heat have not read. This is a short story collection. Icefields I have read. I may get rid of this book, Icefields, because girl, me and her have a complex relationship. I don't know if I loved her like that. And then The Hurting Kind by Ada Limon, which was pretty good. But a book that I also really, really love, The Great Believers by Rebecca Makkai. She's just up here because I ran out of room low-key, so love her down though. It's really sad though. Like, this book, that book had my chest hurting. Like, I was sobbing reading that book. Continuing on with like general fiction here. I think this whole shelf really is general fiction. What's this? Oh, actually, this is general fiction, and then we start to get into like some classics. Except for what is this? This is another sci-fi book that I own, Blood Child by Octavia Butler. But I'm gonna sit her up here in my sci-fi section. So this is another like fantasy that needs to go up there. A Song for the Wild Build, Her Body and Other Parties, have not read yet. The Supremes at Earl, All You Can Eat, I have read, and I really enjoyed this book. It was so good. Open Water was one of my favorite books of 2023 when I read it. The Secret Lives of Church Ladies is another good book that I have read. This is like a short story collection. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. I have read both of these books. These are my favorite horror books. If you know, you know. Conversations with Friends and Normal People. Two more really good horror books. The girls that have read them, you get it. White Teeth by Zadie Smith. I have not read yet, but I am really excited to read. And I love my copy of it. I am such a mass market paperback girly. If I could get every book ever in mass market paperback, I would. Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. I have not read yet. Over here I have this candle that I got from Barnes. And two random rocks. So here, my general fiction section continues, and I start to have a ton of classics. I do this often on my shelf where I stack books like this and turn them in so that I could put more books. The Gallagher Dream Department Store, loved this one so much. It was so good. Then this is like my first classic stack. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland have not read yet. Things Fall Apart, have not read. Dracula, have not read. Beloved, read and loved. Like one of my favorite books of all time. And I have it in, I have two copies of it. One is a first edition from my uncle, and then one is the paperback that I bought myself, and that is fully annotated. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I do not rock with her, but it's the Barnes & Noble hardbound classic. You think I'm getting rid of that? You think I'm getting rid of this cloth bound classic? No, girl. And I paid $26 for it. I'm about to reread it and force myself to love it. Sorry. Fahrenheit 451, I read and enjoyed. I really loved the first half, but the second half fell short to me. The House on Mango Street, I have read. I didn't like that book too much, but I wrote a whole paper on it for grade school, so I'm keeping it because a lot of work was put into that one. Jazz by Toni Morrison. Sula by Toni Morrison. Have not read Jazz. I have read Sula, and I did like Sula, but Beloved so far is my favorite Morrison. Up here I have Sing Unbird Sing by Jasmine Ward. Have not read yet. The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. I have not read yet, but this is on my summer TBR and on my Around the World TBR for Finland. Oh, that's what this stack is. This is my Around the World stack. Beauty is a Wound for Indonesia, but I heard that book is very rough, so it's probably going to take me a little second to get to that one. A Tale for the Time Being is on my summer TBR. This one is for Japan. So is The Memory Police. The Memory Police may be on my TBR for this winter. I'll probably read this around December time. And it's also for Japan. Butter Honey Pig Bread is Canada and Nigeria. The Brothers Karamazov is Russia. Letters to Milana is for Germany, question mark. And then I have a random book down here, The Talented Ripkins, which I also plan to read this summer. Okay, that's that shelf, which is the third shelf. The next shelf, which is the fourth shelf, is my most chaotic shelf and, quite frankly, my favorite shelf. I love this shelf. Like, nothing could make this shelf more perfect to me. As I'm doing this, I'm realizing the books that I need to move. The Gilded Wolves is another fantasy book that I own. I'm putting it on the top shelf. Plant Science Nature shelf. Y'all know that's what I study. That's what I research. So this is that shelf. The Science of Plants, which is a Smithsonian book. The Sea-Ringed World, which is such a gorgeous book. This is Sacred Stories of the Americas. This is like mythology of North America, Central America, and like indigenous ancient stories. I've read a couple from this book and I love it so much. Iwagara, The Kinship of Plants and People. This is a good textbook on ethnobotany and indigenous uses of plants, medicinal uses of plants, if you're interested in that kind of thing, and if you are. Then I have some children's books and like graphic novels that I feel like are also nature-y. What's in Your Pocket? I always recommend this book to kids. Poison Ivy. I have the first omnibus slash like paperback collection. And then I have number 28 of the Poison Ivy comics. I have not read her yet. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur I have read. I've read the first 3 books. And I plan to get the other 2 that I have read because I do really love Moon Girl. Garlic and the Vampire, a little middle grade graphic novel that I recommend so much. In the front here, I have Devotions by Mary Oliver, which I'm reading off and on. Silent Spring and Other Environmental Writings by Rachel Carson. And then these are like some of my spring TBR books. The Island of Missing Trees, Persuasion, Braiding Sweetgrass, A Prayer for the Crown Shy, because I have read the first book. I need to read this one like this month. Wilding, 100 Years of Solitude, another one on my TBR for this month. I need to get to her so bad. The Book of Tea, another one on my TBR for this month. Then this other stack is some of my favorites and some that I have not read yet. Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, my favorite classic so far. I love this book. I love stream of consciousness, woman in peril, woman in question books. I love them so much. The Apothecary Diaries, one of my favorite manga and animes. Garden Spells, one of my favorite fiction books. The Sea Trilogy by Rachel Carson. These are the Library of America editions. And I hope to one day have a whole shelf of Library of America books because I love their little vibes so much. The Sea Trilogy I do plan to read this summer. An Immense World. What's this one? Girl, this is for my brother. Bringing Nature Home. I met the author in real life and he was doing a presentation and also he autographed this book. That man is so smart. And his ideas and notes on conservation, too good. Just Kids by Patti Smith. Have not read yet. And I do really plan to read that book this year. But I'm scared. Because I know it's a sad one. Then back here, on top, I have Emily Dickinson's Letters. I believe is this one. Yeah, Letters. Some random pamphlets for Louisiana plants. Now Tyson, Letters from an Astrophysicist, and then a collection of James Baldwin's books, which I bought in North Carolina. I wonder if I have my receipt in here. I bought this book from Scuppernong Books in North Carolina. I showed the bookstore in that vlog, in the Taking a Train to North Carolina travel vlog. Get it if you live in North Carolina, if you live in the Greensboro area, get into that bookstore because it was too good. Can't wait to go back. Then down here, I have What an Owl Knows. Have not read any of those, honestly, except for my pamphlets. Have not read What an Owl Knows. Have read Soil. I thought this book was okay, but I wanted way more garden and, you know, plant stuff than I got. Gathering Moss by Robin Wall Kimmerer. 2 Jamaica Kincaid books. My favorite plants, writers, and gardeners on the plants they love. And Among Flowers, A Walk in the Himalayas. Cannot wait to read both of those. And those covers are stunning. Like, what are you talking? What? Of Time and Turtles by Cy Montgomery. My favorite naturalist nature writer as of now. And Of Time and Turtles is one of my favorite books. I have read both of these. I've thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and obviously I love Of Time and Turtles. The Art and Practice of Spiritual Herbalism, another like ethnobotany. I could go on and on about that topic. Anyway, The Light Eaters, which is a short story collection, I want to say. Have not read yet. Have read this one. And this is also for my mom. Then A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf is just one of my favorite authors. I have not read anything from her other than Mrs. Dalloway, but I have so much confidence in her that I don't really care for real. All of them are on this shelf. She's such a nature writer to me. Like, she's one of them low-key undercover nature writers. How Far the Light Reaches, A Life in 10 Sea Creatures. This is another short story collection, I want to say. I cannot wait to read both of these, The Light Eater and How Far the Light Reaches. Then this stack, I have a couple of field guides. Let me pull them all down for you. These are the 3 field guides that I own. Is it obvious that I'm a medicinal botany girly? Is that obvious enough, or should I? Then we have a thesaurus. This is an Emily Dickinson collection, poetry collection, My Virginia Woolf Shrine, The Waves, Orlando, and To the Lighthouse. Cannot wait to read all 3 of these books. I think I'm gonna get to all 3 of these this summer because her books give such summer vibes to me. Like, The Waves will be perfect to read this summer. And To the Lighthouse. And this copy of To the Lighthouse, Entangled Life, another book that I really love this year, one of my favorites of the year, as well as Orbital by Samantha Harvey. These 2 books, get into it. Then under that, I have The Ogres and the Orphans, which is my favorite middle grade. Well, my current favorite middle grade, because I'm a middle grade girly, like, and I'm a children's library page, so I read a lot of middle grade. Moominland Midwinter, another middle grade that I really, really like. Dreamwork by Mary Oliver. Down here I have Evidence by Mary Oliver, and for some reason in the middle of those 2 I have The Essential June Jordan, which is also poetry. But the fact that it's in the middle of the 2 Mary Olivers is kind of disturbing me. So we're going to go ahead and move her, because I can't. This is bothering me. That is my nature writing, plant book, nature book section. This is my favorite section on my bookshelf. I feel like it's also my most used because I refer to these books a lot. I reread these books a lot. I am a big rereader. I love rereading books, especially my favorite books. Next shelf is my romance shelf, another one of my favorite shelves on my bookshelf. Let's see, let me sit all the way down so I can get into this. This stack right here is my mass market paperback romance stack, and it's my favorite stack on my shelf. I have a lot of stacks, but my sci-fi fantasy mass market paperbacks and my romance mass market paperbacks are my favorite stacks. A majority of this is Beverly Jenkins, so we're gonna get to, I've read nearly every book on this shelf. Romance is the easiest genre to convince myself to read because I'm like, it's gonna be such a quick read. Like, you might as well just read it tonight, girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, sci-fi, fantasy, and nonfiction I put off a lot because they require a lot more thought and brain power. But romance and middle grades, I'm eating it up. A Duke, the Lady, and the Baby. Look, get into this cover. Like, mass market paperback, Bridgerton vibes, spring vibes. I love this book so much. Pride and Prejudice, another good book. There's not a bad book on this shelf. Queen Charlotte. Have read all 3 of these. And then this is my Beverly Jenkins stack. Have not read Midnight. Have not read Captured, and that's why those are at the top of the stack. To Catch a Raven, I have read. Rebel, I have read. And the entire Destiny series, I have read. Why this is in the middle of the Destiny series? I don't know. Beverly Jenkins is my favorite romance author as of now, and I plan to buy all of her books and to one day have an entire Beverly Jenkins section in my library. But I'm not that girl right now. I have not read a bad Beverly Jenkins book. On the top, I have Aphrodite and the Duke by J.J. McAvoy, which is okay. The Ornithologist Field Guide to Love, which is okay. Wuthering Heights, have not read, and I believe that that is the only book on this shelf that I have not read other than these 2 Beverly Jenkins. The Bromance Book Club series, I'm going to make my romance book recommendation video, I promise. But love, 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 love. Feminist undertones, like boy obsessed from literally every single book of the series. The last one is an romantic. Well, the second to last one is an romantic. Is my favorite. I read these before buying them though, so I didn't buy the two from the series that I just thought were okay. But these three, love, love, love. This one is my favorite. This is like childhood friends to lovers, marriage of convenience, soft cinnamon roll man that's down bad. Love that so much. Terms and conditions, this one was okay. In the Weeds, one that I really liked. A Small Town, soulmatism romance. My Emily Henry, honestly, I haven't read her most recent ones because I don't really care. I'm not gonna lie, I'm off them. But my favorite Emily Henry, I believe, which is a hard question. Her books are not bad. I love these books, but I'm just like, I don't want to read them no more. Dang, I can't decide if, I'm not going to decide a favorite. Like, we're going to be sitting here all day. I can't decide a favorite. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Wishes, Small Town vibe. All Roads Lead Here, Small Town vibe. Are you getting a hint at what's my favorite trope? Small Town, Friends to Lovers, Slow Burn. Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, Today, Tonight, Tomorrow, and Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute are all YA books. No spice. Scooch this back over. The Brown Sister series was my stomping grounds. OG favorite romance books of all time. This one here, I'm not gonna lie, nothing else on this shelf is topping it. Nothing else on this shelf is topping Take It, Daddy Brown. Zafir Ansari. I've been married to that man for about like 4 years now. Before I Let Go, I liked this one. Definitely not as much as I liked Real. This is probably my second favorite after Taking in Danny Brown. Great representation for lupus. Canon is down bad. Boy obsessed. A love song for Ricky Wilde. Boy obsessed. I'm putting you girls on. Get into it. Get into it. And T. Williams have another book being released this year. Can't wait. Can't wait. The only other book that I have not read other than Beverly Jenkins' Wuthering Heights is Love Radio by Ebony Liddell. Not sure when I'm going to get to that one. I don't know why this book doesn't intrigue me very much. I don't know. Honey and Spice is the last book on the shelf. That one is good. I think this one is about college students. And I don't know what it is about me and any type of students. Like YA, it's hard for me to love YA books. It's hard for me to love college students. Like just the academic setting with a romance book. I don't know why. Especially when it's not like Friends to Lovers. Oh, I don't know why. That's my romance section. I really, really love this section. And obviously it's my most read section as well. Then down here is my last section, which is my middle grade children's nonfiction section. These are my 2 journals that are completely full. So proud of those. Iggy Peck Architect, Rosie Revere Engineer. I have not read those 2 and I found them in my library's giveaway bin, so I will read them. Stacy's Remarkable Books. I love this book. Eva Evergreen, The Semi-Magical Witch. A Boy Called Christmas, a book that I reread every single Christmas. I really enjoyed this book. My Kwame Alexander books, this man was like my favorite author for like 3 years straight when I was younger. And before him was Roald Dahl. I've read every single Roald Dahl book there is. And I plan to get them all at some point because I loved that man. I loved his writing style. I still love all of his stories. The Secret Garden was another favorite book of mine when I was younger. Ooh, girl, it's getting dark. Let me keep you back here because it's getting dark over there. Out of My Mind is an amazing, amazing middle grade. The Last Mirror on the Left, I have not read yet, but I read the one before this, The Last Day of Summer, and I really enjoyed that one. Can't wait to recommend it in my summer book recommendation video. The Vanderbeekers, Lost and Found, another one I will be recommending very soon. A Boy Called Christmas, I told y'all. I love these. I love these. This one I found at a little library, and it has some relics in it. Hold up. The author's signature, a little sticker, a little trinket. I was so happy to find that. The House with Chicken Legs is another favorite of mine. I really do need to get into Sophie Anderson's other books because she has a lot of really good folklore mythology retelling books. This is a retelling of Baba Yaga, and it's so good and so cozy and perfect for fall, winter time. The Sal and Gabby duology, Sal and Gabby Break the Universe and Sal and Gabby Fix the Universe. This was my first introduction to sci-fi. This book series is so whimsical. The Phantom Tollbooth, this was my favorite book in 5th grade, and I read it as a class project. My 5th grade teacher was my favorite teacher. She still is my favorite teacher. Ophi's Ghost, have read and have enjoyed. I read all of these. Junie B. Jones, book 1. I plan to get the whole series because my grandkids will be my kids will be forced to read those. The Boxcar Children is the first book of that. I do think I'm going to get the rest of this series too. At least the first 5. But I'm getting the entirety of Junie B. Jones. Because what an icon living. The Genius Files, one of my favorite series. I plan to get this entire series because, again, I will be forcing my kids to read all of those books. The Strangers, really enjoyed. Mr. Limoncello's Library. Let me randomly drop some lore on you. Mr. Limoncello's Library is where I got Lonnie's Library from. I read this book and I was like, yeah, girl, that's gonna be me. Yeah. Love this series so much. And obviously, that's why this channel is here now. And then A Bear Called Paddington. I have read all of those. These are the only 2 that I have not read. The Vanderbeekers Make a Wish. And The Mysterious Benedict Society. And of course, The Last Mirror on the Left. Then over here I have more comics that I have read that just aren't nature-y. Photon. I have comics 1 and 3. I need to get 2, and I need to probably get the most recent ones. I do enjoy Photon very much. Let me move her so y'all can see my nonfiction stack. The Selected Works of Audre Lorde. I need to read so bad. I know I need to read it so bad, and I may read it for Juneteenth. Devotion by Patti Smith, need to read. Bought recently. I bought this at Bayou Classic. Street Haunting by Virginia Woolf, which I read a little bit of at the game for Bayou Classic. I need to finish reading it, but it's like an essay collection by Virginia Woolf, and like I said, favorite author. Angela Davis. Look at this copy. I love a beat up mass market paperback, like a worn, old-timey mass market paperback. The Book of Courtesans. I'm very interested in like concubine culture and concubine history after reading and watching The Apothecary Diaries. The Dead Are Gods, which was sent to me. The Yellow House. The Butterfly Effect, because I was deep in Kendrick Lamar's lore, and this book is so good. How Kendrick Lamar Ignited the Soul of Black America. I love lore about creative people. Like, I can't wait till somebody publishes something about Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm first in line for it. Somebody publishes something about Ryan Coogler. I'm first in line for it. Asada, a book that I have read that you definitely should read, especially if you're a black woman. In the Dream House, have not read yet. I'm low-key scared of this book. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, I have read. The Backyard Bird Chronicles, have not read. And Feel Free by Zadie Smith, I have partially read. On my chair here, which is always sitting here by my bed and by the shelf, this is where I really keep my library stack. Curvy Girl Summer, A Botanist's Guide to Flowers and Fatality, On the Way to the Wedding, Bright Young Women, The Sirens, The Way of Kings, Body and Soul Food, The Way of Kings, which I think I'm going to return and go ahead and purchase. Because after reading Trust of the Emerald Sea, I already know I'm going to be obsessed with it. So, The Martian, Homeseeking, and If You Could See the Sun. These are kind of like my priority TBRs because I have to return them. And that's another really bad thing about me with my physical TBR. If I have books from the library, I'm going to read those first before reading my physical TBR. And there's never a time in which I don't have library books. Let's be honest. I work at the library. I'm obsessed with the library. Working at the library has always been my dream job. I check out a new book almost every day. I need to be stopped. In this chair, I also keep my current reads. All the time, now that I have crocheted myself a book sleeve, at least one of my current reads will be in the book sleeve. And right now what's in it is Trust of the Emerald Sea because I am in fact rereading it. Dune Messiah and The Lost World by Michael Crichton. That's what's on my chair. As y'all know, I have a record player, so all of my vinyls sit on my floor next to my bookshelf. Just because I want to, I'm going to quickly show you what all I have. American Heartbreak. Oh, I heard the Zach Bryan rumors. I heard the Zach Bryan lore recently that came out after I done bought all this. So, American Heartbreak by Zach Bryan. Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. What an album, boo. They don't make uriners like him anymore. Maze and Frankie Beverly. Y'all, Frankie Beverly died last year, bruh. I was distraught. This is the family reunion, family barbecue, family crawfish boil music. Starting Over by Chris Stapleton. Stevie Wonder, Hotter Than July album. Earth, Wind and Fire. Girl, I forgot I had this. Earth, Wind and Fire. Commodores. Random lore about me. I have been obsessed with Lionel Richie since I was like 8 years old. Like, I know all of that man's songs. He was my favorite singer since I was like 7, 8 years old. It's not a joke. So I have the Commodores, Cotton Act, Ray Charles' Greatest Hits, Nat King Cole, Christmas Songs, Prince Purple Rain, Traveler by Chris Stapleton, one of my favorite albums of all time. Tennessee Whiskey is my favorite song. Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie. Luther Vandross, Never Too Much, another one of my favorite albums. This is currently, as you can see, the CD is not in here because I play this album almost every single night. Y'all, I don't know why I'm mentally 65. I'm so sorry. Like, what is this? Higher by Chris Stapleton. A favorite album. Fleetwood Mac, The Dance. Let me stop saying favorite album because favorite album. Zach Bryan. Samara Joy, A Joyful Holiday. I also have her somewhere else in here. Samara Joy. Linger a While Longer. And then Samara Joy. Linger a While. Which all of these are autographed because I saw her in person at the New Orleans Orpheum Theater maybe 2 years ago during Christmas. It was so good. If you have the opportunity, you should go see her live. Lionel Richie, The Shy Lights, love them down. And for some reason, the rest of Higher is right here. Back to the books. So on the stack sitting next to this is my current hauls. Fire and Blood by George R. Martin, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, Sherlock Holmes, the first 2 books of the Series of Unfortunate Events series, which was a steal, and I'm going to put this on my middle grade shelf once I get done recording this. The Fellowship of the Ring, which is going to go on my sci-fi shelf. I have not read any of these except for these 2 because these are 2 of my favorite middle grades. Then over here, a random textbook, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, a random Brendan Jackson book, Lone Women. These are here because I do plan to read them pretty soon, but I need to reassess this stack, to be honest. Lone Women, Let Us Descend, and then some books from the Alan Bradley Flavia de Lucia series, I think is what it's called. Dread Nation, Michael Crichton books, An Enchantment of Ravens, Clytemnestra, and Ithaca. I have a lot of Greek mythology on my physical TBR that I really need to read. And then last but not least, I have what's on this stool that's always in my room that I kind of use as a bedside table. I come in here with my nighttime tea, put my mug on a coaster, on one of my crochet coasters, put it on this stool, and pick a book from the stack to read. On this stack, I have these three you just saw me put up here, so I'm not going to get into that. Oh, and also most times I have my current read stack on top of this stack, so I put my tea here and just grab a current read. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is another current read. Service Model is the next library book that I plan to read. The Lily of Ludgate Hill I just bought, and it's a romance book. And then Dungeon Crawler Carl. And last but not least, what's on this stool is my Kindle. I got this Kindle 5 years ago. Maybe it was 3. It's a Kindle Paperwhite, and I put this little charm on it. And I don't really use my Kindle very often, to be honest, because I much prefer to physically hold the book. And like I said, I'm obsessed with the library. If I want to read a book, I'm getting it from the library. That is my little reading corner bookshelf tour. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's probably a long one because I can't stop yapping. And I'll see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!